Let me tell you something that I have learned the hard, messy way is that undervaluing your work, it doesn't make you noble. It makes your dream unsustainable. You're never too busy, too tired, too old, or too anything to pursue your dreams. Welcome to the Distracted Dreamer podcast, where you'll learn how to move all those never-ending distractions aside and chase your dreams with confidence. Hello, friends. Welcome to another conversation on the Distracted Dreamer podcast. I'm your friend and host, Carlene, and we're talking about that thing that so many of us don't want to talk about, but you actually do, because you've been blowing up my texts with questions about money and your dreams. Now, I know not everyone has a dream of building a side hustle or starting a business, but many of you do, and that's what we're going to talk about today, is getting comfortable charging, making an offer to the people who need what you teach, who need you to transform their yard from an eyesore to a beautiful outdoor oasis, or they need the clothes that you've carefully selected as a boutique owner that make them feel good and confident. It's time to own the value that you bring to the table. So today's episode is for that version of you who's got big dreams, brilliant ideas, and maybe even a beautiful offer in mind, but who freezes up the moment money enters the room. And you know what I'm talking about. Maybe you've caught yourself saying things like, who am I to charge money for this? I'm not a real expert. Or I feel kind of bad asking for money. Oh, and here's one that has come up more recently is times are hard right now. I know they don't have the money. What if they say no and I just feel stupid? Yeah, I know. I've been there too. And when you're selling yourself, your ideas, your creativity, your coaching, your art, your words, it feels really personal, doesn't it? Because there's no brand to hide behind. There's no big logo or corporate identity to make it feel less raw. But let me tell you something that I have learned the hard, messy way is that undervaluing your work, it doesn't make you noble. It makes your dream unsustainable. So today, we're going to flip the script, and I'm going to walk you through the mindset shifts that have helped me stop apologizing for my worth and start charging for the value that I bring to the table. Are you ready? It's okay if this makes you feel uncomfortable. That's exactly where you need to be. And let me tell you, so many people tried to tell me what I'm going to tell you today, and I wish I would have taken it to heart much sooner than I did. So just sit back with an open mind and an open heart and consider this conversation your mindset reset around money. All right, are you ready? Let's dive in. Now, the first thing that I want to tell you is you are not wrong for feeling weird about money. For a lot of us, especially us creatives, us helpers and healers, charging money for something like that, it feels like we're kind of betraying like the heart of the thing. But here's the truth. Undercharging is often just fear in disguise. We know this. We don't want to be rejected. We don't want to be found out. So we lowball. We discount and we justify it. Now, I've got a secret to share with you. I'm going to tell you a story about my business that I haven't shared on this podcast before. So way back, more than a decade ago, I never wanted to have a business. Nope. My business, it kind of found me, and I was living in this fantasy world that I could sustain helping people without making an offer, without charging. And I was taking some online classes learning about ADHD after my daughter was diagnosed. And this still blows my mind that it was only a decade ago that it was impossible to find any good information on ADHD online or anywhere. And the only thing I was given by the doctor was this teeny tiny little pamphlet and a script for medication. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I need more support for my daughter, and I have to figure out how to get it for her. So I started taking these classes, and they really opened my eyes to what ADHD was all about and what my daughter was experiencing. And I wanted a better treatment plan, more than the meds. So after I finished those classes, one of the instructors reached out to me and said, I think you'd be an amazing ADHD coach, and I hope you'll consider moving on to the next series of classes on ADHD coach training. And of course, I was all in because I would absolutely love to learn how to help my daughter that way through coaching. So fast forward to many conversations I had with other moms facing the same challenge of how to support their kids with ADHD. I was going to lunches and coffees and taking calls and people picking my brain, and I was so willing to share everything I knew if it meant other kids wouldn't have to go through what my daughter was going through. But eventually, I got really burned out. I was exhausted. I mean, how many coffee dates can you have in 1 week? And then my husband said to me, he said, why don't you start a business and start coaching parents? And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. I was like, I am not going to charge people just to talk to me. So now money had entered the conversation, and I was like a deer in headlights. I was a poster child for imposter syndrome, and I sought out every certification under the sun to give me more confidence. But you know what? The confidence, it never came with that piece of paper or more letters after my name. And you know the funny thing? No one ever asked me what my certifications were. They just wanted to know that I understood their struggle and that I could lead them through to a better place. And that was enough. So I started out doing pro bono, not charging. And soon I realized that if people don't have skin in the game, they aren't really all the way in. A skipped session? No big deal. I didn't pay for it anyways. And ultimately, skipped sessions equals zero transformation. So I realized I needed to be with other entrepreneurs. I needed to be with other coaches to push me out of my comfort zone around money. So I joined masterminds and Facebook groups, and I started building out my services and my packages, my offers. And did I undercut my value? Oh, you bet I did. The fear of being rejected, of being questioned if what I offered was really worth it. These are the things that keep us small. They keep our businesses small, and they make our dreams unsustainable. Okay, so we're going to talk about the money mindset shifts that I had to make to keep my business going. And there's 6 of them, and we're just going to talk through them. And I just want you to listen to hear, is there a nugget in each of these that rings true for you? And if so, make a note of it, because that's where you want to focus your mindset work. So the first mindset shift is you're not taking money from them. You're making them an offer to experience a transformation. The transformation is what they value. Listen, you don't need a PhD or 1 million followers to be worth paying. What you need is to actually believe in the transformation that you offer. So let's consider the busy mom who's stressed. She's overwhelmed. She barely has time to shower. And she hires someone to give her home a good cleaning 2 times a month. She will pay for it. She will give up her Starbucks and curb her spending so she can afford to do it. She will find a way. Why? Because it's about the transformation. The first part of the transformation is her house. Her entire house is clean all at the same time, not just one room or one bathroom, because that's all she has time to do in short bursts. No, her entire house. And the result of that clean house is that it saved her time. Time she can spend taking care of her family without worrying about the deep cleaning. It also reduces her stress around bashing herself, thinking, I'm a terrible housekeeper. Now she feels confident that she can keep the house in check in between the cleanings. She knows she can have the kids pick up after themselves. She can run the vacuum. She can quickly wipe down the bathroom until the cleaning crew returns in a few weeks. And this is such sweet relief for her. That is the transformation. So remember, your value isn't about your title. It's not about your certifications or the time and effort that you put into it, the number of minutes that you're coaching or spending time with a client in therapy. It's about the result. It's about the transformation. If you help someone shift and grow or see something new or save them time or feel less alone or help them earn more money, that's valuable. You don't need permission to charge for that. You don't. Don't think of it as charging for your services. Think of it as making an offer to help someone experience a transformation. If you want to bring your genius to the world, it is your responsibility to serve your audience or your potential customers and make an offer. And there's going to be people in your audience who will miss out on accessing a lot of their potential in the way that only you can help them with if you don't make an offer or you don't sell. See it as part of your responsibility of making an offer. When the right people join or pay and they experience the transformation, there is a beautiful exchange, a beautiful transformation that happens. And so see it as a transformational experience as opposed to you're taking money from someone. See it as making an offer to experience transformation at a greater level than they've ever experienced before. All right, we are moving on to mindset shift number 2. And that is free is unkind to yourself and your customers. So here's a mantra I want you to kind of tattoo onto your brain if you can, is I don't give free advice, or I don't give free photo shoots or free clothing or free pastries, and neither should you. I know it sounds cocky, it's a little bold, but trust me, this one phrase, it really changed the game for me. Now, I'm not saying never help anyone, because kindness still wins with me. But I am saying people value what they pay for. Free advice, I know from experience, it gets ignored. Paid input, that gets implemented. Remember, when people pay, they pay attention. Okay, let's shift over to mindset shift number 3. And we're going to kind of piggyback off of the last mindset shift about free. And what I want to say here is that it doesn't mean that you can't offer something free to family or friends. You absolutely can if that's what's in your heart. But be sure that you have boundaries around it and make those boundaries very clear so they don't assume that free is forever. So here's what mindset shift number 3 is. It's that generosity thrives with structure, not guilt. Generosity thrives with structure, not guilt. If giving is your love language, you don't have to stop, but you do have to be strategic. So set aside time for pro bono or pay what you can work on purpose. Let generosity be a choice, not a knee-jerk reaction. And when you do free work, make sure that it's still feeding your business. It may not mean getting money, but you absolutely should ask for something in return to keep fueling your business in other ways, like a referral, a testimonial, ask for feedback, create a case study, gather a story to share. And if you have a brick and mortar business or a physical product, free can creep in there too. So you might find yourself tossing in freebies and bonuses just because you want to make the offer look more enticing, or you're constantly discounting it. You're always in discount mode. Or you're bending over backwards on customizations that really don't get appreciated. So generosity, it doesn't mean people pleasing. Being intentional around your generosity, that's what keeps your dream sustainable. So be generous where you choose, but not out of guilt. Alrighty. Mindset shift number 4. How you treat your work teaches others how to treat it too. Well, let's get real. If you want to be paid, you have to stop treating your work like a side hobby. You don't need to earn the right to be a business. You decide you are a business. And when you do that, everything shifts. You show up differently. You talk about your work with more clarity, and you own your offers. If you treat it like a maybe, people aren't going to take it seriously either. So you got to claim your space, even if your voice shakes. And this shift isn't just for service providers. This is for my makers, my shop owners, and course creators too. If you're selling candles that you poured by hand, or a membership community you've nurtured from scratch, or a boutique full of curated pieces that you adore, that's not a hobby either. That $30 shirt in your boutique, you didn't just buy it. You styled the vibe. You created a space. You marketed it. And that's value. That $97 course, you didn't just slap it together in a Google Doc. You taught it. You tested it. You edited it. You showed up. And the minute you exchange money for value, whether it's physical, digital, or emotional, you're a business. And business, it means boundaries. Business means ownership. And I want to leave you with this thought on this mindset shift is if it costs you time, talent, or energy, it's worth charging for. All right. Oh my gosh, we are already on mindset shift number 5. Now, I've come a long way with my money mindset, but the one thing that I still struggle with to this day is how much to charge. Here's what I do, and I'm giving you your permission slip to do the same and do a little snooping. So go see what other people are charging for similar work. Not to compare in some type of a shame spiral, but like to open your eyes to see what's out there. Because chances are someone is charging 10 times more than you plan to charge for work that's honestly not even as thoughtful as yours. So mindset shift number 5 is your price isn't about effort, it's about impact. If you help someone land a dream job in 1 hour, that hour is worth way more than just the time. You're not selling minutes. You're selling transformation. And if you're selling a digital product like a Notion template or a journaling guide or a bundle of art prints, pricing, that can feel like a really weird guessing game. Like you go out on Etsy for some of these things and the prices are all over the place. But here's what helps. Study how others package their products. Look at bonuses. Look at scarcity. And look at the perceived transformation. So here's something that you might want to think about. You might be thinking, it's just a downloadable PDF. And then you realize someone else is charging $47 for a printable calendar, and people are thrilled to pay it. So the more clearly someone can picture how your product or service solves a problem or can positively impact their life, the more they'll be willing to pay. In worst case, if no one bites, you've learned something about your audience. But it may not be the price. It could be your messaging that's off. And as a business owner, you have to dissect what is off in your offer. And from experience, I can tell you that I have learned that 9 times out of 10, it's the messaging around the transformation that's off, not the price point. So that's something to keep in mind. Okay, we are on the last mindset shift, number 6. And this you must hear. Mindset shift number 6 is this. You are an expert. What you know is not common knowledge to your audience. You are an expert. What you know is not common knowledge to your audience. That thing that you do effortlessly, that advice you give without even blinking, that beautiful art you create, those beautiful photos you take. Yeah, it's easy now, but it took you years to get there. You're charging for the years it took to make it look easy. Others don't have the skills or the experience or the insight that you do. What's simple to you is like, wow, tons of aha moments to someone else. So don't assume people know what you know. They don't. Your invisible expertise equals someone else's breakthrough. Your invisible expertise equals someone else's breakthrough. So honor that. Okay, we made it through all 6 mindset shifts. And we are going to recap them right here, right now. Mindset shift number 1 is you're not taking money from them. You're making them an offer to experience a transformation. Number 2, free is unkind to yourself and to your customers. Mindset shift number 3, generosity, it thrives with structure, not guilt. Number 4, how you treat your work teaches others how to treat it too. Number 5, your price isn't about effort. It's about impact. And number 6, you are an expert. What you know is not common knowledge to your audience. Now, I don't want you to walk away from this episode and just think about it. This is one where taking a few small steps can change the trajectory of your business and keep that dream alive. So I'm going to invite you to do one of 3 things this week. The first thing that you could do is offer something small, for a small fee. Offer something for $17. Make a PDF, offer it for $7. Doesn't matter. Or number 2, take an offer you already have in place and raise your price by 10% and just see what happens. This is about experimenting, getting a little playful with it. Or number 3, I want you to ask for a testimonial the next time someone says, wow, that really helped me. Or wow, I really love this piece of art. Or wow, those photos are amazing. Ask for a testimonial. Because we need you to keep going. People need your expertise. They need your art. They need your services that save them time. They need you. And if that imposter syndrome is ringing loud for you, go back and give a listen to episode 21, Why We Fear Success and How to Move Past Imposter Syndrome. So whether you're selling services, handmade goods, digital tools, or a beautifully branded experience, you have to remember there's going to be people in your audience who will miss out on accessing a lot of their potential in the way that only you can help them with if you don't make an offer or you don't sell. You're not just selling a product. You're selling possibility. And that matters. So if you have a friend that you think would find this valuable, would you please share it with them? And if you've ever loved this podcast, will you please give me a review? As you know, reviews really make a difference for podcasters, and I rarely ask for them, but I'd be forever grateful if you like this podcast and you can leave a review and let me know what you think. All right, my sweet friend. Thank you so much for being here with me today. And remember, your dreams, they are waiting for you. And your time, it's now. And I'll be back next week, ready to welcome you to our next conversation.
Oh, and one more thing. This is the legal language. You know, the stuff that the lawyers put together, and they say that I need to read this to you. So here we go. This podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes. I'm just your friend. I'm not a licensed therapist. This podcast is not intended as a substitute for the advice of a physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or other qualified professionals. Got it? Good. I will see you in the next episode.